From calling Deontay a piece of to blasting him for his unprofessional behavior in and out of the boxing ring. Here's the real reason why Tyson Fury hates Deontay Wilder. Starting with the potential two-fight deal between Wilder and Francis Ngannou. TMZ recently revealed that both heavyweights are currently in talks about setting the mega fight up. They're both really excited about it. They're two of the most ferocious punchers in combat sports history. Anyone who's watched them fight can tell you that if they connect one haymaker with your chin, you'd wake up in heaven. But Fury really wants that to happen to Wilder. In fact, Fury recently said that he hopes Francis knocks him out if the fight happens. So I guess it looks like their rivalry's still going strong, even after Fury humiliated Wilder in 2 of their 3 super fights. There's been talk about a 4th fight between them, but Fury wants Ngannou to destroy the Bronze Bomber instead. Now, having said that, it'll be a tough bout, and Ngannou thinks the same. In a recent interview with TMZ, the former UFC heavyweight champion explained that boxing's a new arena, and you need technique and experience to land successful hits, both of which he lacks as of right now. But he isn't the only one who thinks that. Even Fury claims that Ngannou won't be able to beat Wilder. In an interview with Fight Hub TV, he praised the 6'4" mixed martial artist for being big enough and skilled enough to knock anyone out, and he wants him to chin Wilder and knock him out like a spark. But he also says that it might not happen, cause Wilder ain't no slouch. He's 6'7" and has devastating punching power. So much so that he's regularly compared with heavyweight legends like George Foreman and Ken Norton. There's a reason why he's called the Bronze Bomber, and Fury pays credit where credit is due. However, he still called him a piece of who deserves to be knocked out cold. Obviously, there's still some hostility left over from their epic clashes in the ring. And why wouldn't there be? Once you look at their history, let's look at the first fight, which is arguably the most controversial bout of the 3-fight trilogy. Before they jumped into the ring, Wilder had a perfect 40-0 record. He was dangerous, and there's no denying that. His savage punching power had taken down the likes of Audley Harrison, Luis Ortiz, and Chris Arreola. He went through his opponents like a train, but he was about to face the Gypsy King. He too had an undefeated record of 27-0 before he met Wilder in the ring. Most fans felt that it was an unstoppable force meets an immovable object kind of battle. But here's the thing, Fury had just regained his boxing license after being tested positive for cocaine back in 2016. He had battled alcoholism and depression. He gained a lot of weight, and it looked like the Gypsy King's career was over. But he was determined to fight again, and he fought tooth and nail to make a comeback in 2018. He fought Sefer Seferi and won when Seferi retired from the match in round 4. But Wilder, on the other hand, was poking a stick in Fury's face. In the build-up to the fight, he said that if Fury thinks he can take the WBC belt from him, then he'd better wake up and apologize. At the same time, Fury had never won a WBC championship, and Wilder knew just how to piss him off about it. But then the moment of truth came on December 1st, 2018. The heavyweight titans got into the ring, and all hell broke loose. Up until the 11th round, it looked like Fury was winning, using his ferocious technique alone. Nobody expected the 6'9" giant to move the way he did, especially after having recovered from depression, alcoholism, and weight gain. But then came the infamous 12th round. Wilder landed 2 quick punches, and Fury fell like a rag doll. It looked like he was dead. House of the Dragon actor Paddy Considine was one of the many British celebrities who came out to support Fury, and when he fell to the canvas, Considine thought the fight was over. Even Mike Tyson thought the same, and he was rooting for Fury to come out swinging in the first few rounds. But something happened. Tyson opened his eyes like a man possessed and stood up, ready as ever. It was as though the Gypsy King had risen from the dead. And Wilder was shocked. He couldn't believe that Tyson had the strength to get up again, and that moment became imprinted in everyone's mind. It's one of the most iconic moments in boxing history. But Wilder didn't think so. In the post-fight conference, he acknowledged that he'd rushed his punches too much and swung his right wildly, but he had knocked Fury down twice. So that meant that he'd clearly won. But Fury disagreed, stating that he'd done something incredible after 3 years out of the ring, and most fans agreed that he'd won the fight based on sheer willpower alone. But the fight was declared a draw. Things weren't as bad between the two rivals back then. They still shook hands and agreed that a rematch was in order. And then came the next bout in 2020. Tyson versus Wilder 2. By then, both heavyweights had gained plenty of muscle to give them an edge. For Tyson, it was about size and power, pure and simple. He wanted his punches to feel like a locomotive driving into Wilder's skull, because he wanted to prove that he was the greatest heavyweight of all time. On the other hand, Wilder was sure that he'd knock Tyson down in a matter of minutes. All it would take is a good punch, and it would all be over. But the second fight was something no one expected. Tyson started off strong and laid into Wilder from the beginning. He promised to stay in the center of the ring and take the Bronze Bomber on. But instead, Tyson annihilated Wilder. Everyone who saw the fight knew it was over before it even began. The Gypsy King was too quick, too coordinated, and too powerful for the Bronze Bomber. In fact, his punches were so brutal that the referee had to end the fight midway through the 7th round. Wilder just wasn't able to keep up, and he was scandalized when he heard the bell go off prematurely. After the fight, he claimed that someone had spiked his water with something like a muscle relaxant. Then he said that he was fatigued because his walk-in costume was heavy. And then he said that Tyson scratched his ears so he couldn't coordinate his combinations. And fans roasted him for it because they thought he was being a sore loser. Most critics felt that he was making up excuses because Tyson won fair and square. And then he went on the offensive. He took to social media and started claiming that Tyson had cheated to win the WBC championship and that he'd activated a clause in their second fight contract that allowed the loser to call for a rematch. This set the stage for a third and most anticipated match between the two bitter rivals. And we all know how that ended. Fury knocked the daylights out of Wilder and successfully defended his WBC championship belt. After the fight, he tried shaking Wilder's hand, who ignored him instead. Everyone thought it was poor sportsmanship, but none more than Fury, who just wanted to show respect for his opponent. Even now, he thinks he hasn't done enough damage to Wilder. He could have done more, and that's why he wants a fourth fight to happen between them. Fans are already hyped for the potential quadrilogy battle, and I hope it happens soon. And that's all I have today on why Tyson Fury hates Deontay Wilder.